Marquise the Vandal. Marquise is the name my mama gave me. I am thinking this morning about ego, about delusion, about what is it? I said delusion and deception. Like how often I've been deceived, how often I've been just living in an illusion, like accepting lies, accepting things. I believe in family. I believe in a lot of different things. I believe in truth. I believe that certain morality is needed. I just have a lot of core beliefs that I do my best to honor. And as I do the work to honor those things, I recognize that everybody doesn't work on those things in the way that I do. But we will converge. We will meet in life. We will like cross paths. But people will claim to be after the same things I'm after, but they go about it in a different way, which isn't problematic. But the problem comes in when the ways in which we go about meeting our goal do not align. In fact, they conflict. All right. There's certain beliefs that I have about myself that I don't want to challenge. And I don't expect anybody else to challenge it. I wrote on my story yesterday, well, I wrote on my Instagram, if we're going somewhere you've never been, I'll drive my own car. It's a funny thing to think about, but like, I look at spirituality that way. If you've never been to this space that you expect to take me, and the reasoning of you going there is based in your ego, oh, I know this works because I feel it in my spirit. Well, have you really checked in with my spirit before you decided that this was the truth for all of us? That's the ego aspect of it. I've studied yoga. I've studied it. I've practiced it. I've been teaching. I've been looking at it a lot different. I look at it as the workout first, but I do acknowledge the spiritual aspect. In the spiritual component, I like to center Jesus. I like to center Christian faith that I grew up with. I like to read the Bible. This is what I enjoy. Everybody doesn't. Everybody does not. In fact, some people vehemently do not like the Bible, to the point of if I bring it up, I see clear lines being drawn. Or I see somebody sitting like, okay, I'm gonna listen till you shut up. Now let's get back to the thing that I came for, right? So this is where it gets conflicting, right? And again, I'm just saying this to sit into like a lot of the spiritual practices I've seen and just come across have been in ego. There's no way to remove the ego. There's like no way to remove the ego from the process that I've seen. Some of these practices, I feel that certain Christian principles don't need my ego. They don't need me. And that's actually the truth of a lot of practices. They don't need you. Like God didn't have to tell me to tell you anything. Go to God for yourself. You have just as much space and capacity to speak to God. I may be blessed to have honored my temple in a way where I get a clearer message, but I would like to say I have something that I'm feeling, and I think you are best served speaking to God about this concept that we're talking about. I don't really want to be in that space. I don't want to be in that space wrongly, right? I speak about God as much as I do, and I speak about these Christian faith and principles because I've been in spaces in my life where, like, there was no way of denying God's presence. There was no way of denying it. Like, it's easy to deny God when, like, you're arguing with somebody else about your beliefs. Like, oh, we just going back and forth about our beliefs. When we go and live life, when I am blessed to meet a man who has ALS, and every time I visit him, he's losing a different functionality. Like, every time I visit him, there's one less thing that he can't do. But we have some of the most beautiful conversations I've ever had in my life. I miss our conversations. Sometimes I wish I recorded them. I wish I documented it more. But I didn't want to invade his privacy like that. And I didn't really know what he wished to share. So I just think about moments like that. When I'm sitting on a couch next to a friend who I know is going to die. Like that, there's nothing I can learn in this space that will make me so just magical that I could stop that process. That I could just help her overcome that moment. It was beyond all of us. And when it gets to the point of it's beyond all of our understanding, that's I hand it over. I hand it over and I give thanks. I say, thank you, Lord. I say thank you. I say thank you for everything that I had no power over. I had no say in where I was born. Like, we could do all of this babble about, like, oh, well, you chose your parents. It's like, cool, like, I chose my parents. Let's say I chose my parents, I chose where I was, like, but I don't remember the process. And, like, I genuinely don't feel like I need to enjoy life. It's like that, for me, it gets to this point of, like, if I controlled it or I didn't, right? If I controlled it and, like, I got a clear sense of it, I am still finna hit that grave. If I become Superman in this realm, it's still a limit to my capacity because I'm man. I'm man first. I'm only human. I'm blessed to be created in the image of divinity. I'm blessed to be created in the likeness. But I see the limits. I see the limits. And I see where we fall short. It is very interesting to think about just how ego is way too involved. Ego is way too involved in these practices. I like to think that if I wasn't here, would it matter? Like, I'm cool on the fact that I do get to make an impact. I'm not denying, like, I'm not ungrateful for that. Oh, wow. Not ungrateful. But ultimately, it's like, it's beyond me. It's so beyond me. I'm not the reason that I made it out of a mental health hospital. I'm not the only reason. Like, I'm not the main reason. There's a force greater than my own. And trying to assign a label to that so that it benefits me, like, oh, well, this is what the force is. And because I know what the force is, come to me. Like, the false prophets in this time are disgusting. All the false prophecies. God told me to tell you, this is when you'll get married. You're meant to be rich. You are divine. You are chosen. It's like, these are all conversations we have to have with God. God before man. But there's so many people right now taking that space up. Oh, you're a high priest. It's like, I'm cool, but, like, what? I don't know. I don't know. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy seeing it. It feels nasty. And again, it's not like I'm never in a space where I'm looking at myself like, oh, I'm not enough, or oh, I'm lesser than. I refuse to ever do that. I said I'm created in the image of the highest. I'm blessed. I'm powerful. I'm abundant. I'm
In a
victorious.
quarter mile, turn right onto US 322 East.
I'm anointed. These things, these are truths. I'm the calm through the storm. Like that's a fact. So it's like, I'll never deny the benefits of speaking light over your life. What
Turn right
I
onto
do
US
deny
322 East.
and have a major issue with is somebody else playing middleman. I'm not finna be a
Continue
middleman
on
to
US
God.
322 East for 7 miles.
Like, the middleman game is actually one of the nastiest things I've witnessed. It's like, I'm gonna be a middleman to love. I'm gonna be a middleman to God. I'm gonna be a middleman to understanding yourself. No. I'm gonna show you the ways that I have done it. You can follow some of the practices. You can observe them and see if they actually speak to you. We're just getting a busy morning. You can see what I'm doing and maybe pattern yourself. Maybe it speaks to your experience. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it looks like this isn't for me, and that's actually beautiful. That's cute. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Somebody asked in the chat, have you ever been called whitewashed before? And what is your reaction to that? I've been called whitewashed. Absolutely. I've been called a lot of things. Ultimately, I'm a person. That is actually that's the point of my platform. I am a guy from a place to say that, like, white is something somebody made up so they can have another label and they could define something and they could segregate people, and it was a way to have power. So unfortunately, my reaction to being called whitewashed is often the question, what part of me makes you think of whiteness? And oftentimes it's based on how I speak, which is the part that's unfortunate to me. Like, speaking intelligently has been limited to whiteness. Intelligence is a concept that only white people are allowed to have. That has always been absurd to me, and it will never not be absurd to me. I didn't grow up only around white people. I actually grew up in a majority black city, a family with a lot of professional black people, working class black people. When I talk with my accent, right, because there's code switching, but there's also the reality that, like, my grandfather read the newspaper every day. He knew how to make cabinets. He worked amazingly with his hands. My grandmother was like cooking every day for her family. My grandmother had 12 kids. My grandfather was responsible for 9 of them, but he was responsible for all 12 because he married her and raised his family. I don't come from a mushmouth reality. Again, that's not to belittle anybody's situation. I find it very unfortunate that whiteness is absolved of ignorance. What makes a person whitewashed is often my question. But once I start to talk about it, now you're angry or you're mad. You're an angry black man because you're talking to me with words that I wasn't expecting you to say. It's so stupid. Whitewashed. You're talking white. I used to hear that growing up. You're talking white. So I'm talking the language that is the standard of this space. If I was in a Spanish-speaking country, I would say, hola. Hola. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo estás? Hoy es divertido. Hoy es divertido. If I was in a Spanish-speaking country. If I was in a German-speaking country, I would say Guten Tag. Bis morgen. What is it? What is it? Oh, wie geht's? Wie geht's? Wie geht es? I would say those things if I was in those countries. See, the thing is, when you're intelligent, right, you recognize that the best form of communication is one where you are legible, right? Where your words are not confused. It's not confusing to try to figure out what a person is saying, right? That is actually intelligent. Speaking in a way where people don't have to argue about what you said, because you've enunciated and pronounced your words well enough for people to make out what's being said. I like speaking in the cultural vibe too. I like to speak in Ebonics because there's some things that I don't want you to know we said. That's the fun of it, right? Hey, what's good with dummy? What's good with stupid? you really dumb. You really dumb as hell. Though. You stupid. Like, I like those because I get to speak in something that you don't have a reference for. You don't know what it's like to be outside. Yeah. You can pull up, but you ain't gonna get the vibes. You ain't gonna get the vibes. You know what I'm saying? My point, as I started this, ego, checking the ego. Checking the ego and checking the thought process that you're too good or that I'm too good to be doing the wrong thing. Also being conscious that there is a certain point where people around you will just absolve you of being wrong. They're like, no, there's no way that brother's wrong. That brother's always right. Like, no, like, actually check people. Like, still check me. If I'm off base, bet. Like, there's no issue with that. I actually prefer to be reminded, like, oh, think about this too. I like constructive criticism, right? Not stupid questions. I like constructive criticism. I like things that I can build upon. Did you consider this when you were doing that? Recently, I had a relative tell me, like, you're saying the N-word too much. I was like, right. I actually know a lot more words than the N-word. I know a lot more words than curse words. I recently told my students, like, well, a group of students that I came across, there is no fear in you being ignorant. Nobody's afraid of an ignorant person. Nobody is afraid of the angry man. Nobody is ever afraid of the angry man. Nobody's ever afraid of the ignorant person. You're not a threat. You're actually the easiest thing to absolve. You're in your feelings too much. Get out your emotions. It's like your emotions are cool. Like, your emotions are valid. We can get to that point. We can understand the validity of emotion. You felt what you felt. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to gaslight you. What you do after you felt what you felt is the defining part of your journey. It literally defines who you are. Ooh. Mickey D's. Let me run that right quick. But yeah. Made this live just to speak on that. Those specific things. Speaking on truth, baby. Just calling.
Head north on Chelsea Parkway.
How's dog?
In a half mile, turn left onto Chichester Avenue.
I just need to go.
Head north
to
toward Chelsea.
bathroom.
Head west toward Chelsea Parkway.
I just need to go to the bathroom. I just need to go to the bathroom. I gotta use the bathroom.
Head west toward Chelsea Parkway.
Need to use the bathroom this morning.
Head south toward Chelsea Parkway. Head northeast toward Chelsea.
All gratitude, man. Thank you for anybody that's watching this, anybody who's joined me this morning. What is my mission for the day? To uplift, to build, connect, and prosper. I'm about to get off here for a second. I'll be right back.